I don't have a whole lot to say about this one. All right. So welcome back to Guitar 101, where this is part 2 of Blues in A. We're looking at the 4 chord. And in this case, the 4th tone or 4th note in the A scale is a D. On the guitar, for you guys that are just starting up, it's real easy to find your 4 chord. So if you do any of these frets up here on the low string, the 4 is just immediately above in tone, but below it physically. So here's our D note. We're going to look at the D9 chord, which is this, and we're going to look at the D7th chord, which is this. So let's take a closer look at those. On the fret hand, up here, it's like a little pyramid or a triangle. You actually play the root with your 2nd finger on this, so not the 1st finger like you would think. You put that there. To play the 3rd, it's the next string down, and you play that with your 1st finger. Then you can either bar the rest of the strings like this, or you can just play them with your 3rd and 4th finger. That gives you a little more strength on that chord. If you're doing something funky, you might choose to do a bar, so something like this. It's a little easier to slide that chord when you're doing that rather than... It's a little awkward. So anyway, that's the D9 chord. Again on the fret hand, let's take a look at the 7th chord. The 7th chord, you do start with your 1st finger on the root. You bar the rest, but you don't play them like that. You take your 3rd finger and you put it on the 5, which is the 7th fret. The next one is barred from your 1st finger. And then lastly, you have the 7th fret again on the B string. If you want, you can throw the barred high 5 of the chord there. So this type of 7th chord has a little brighter sound than the 9 chord. Okay? So depending on what kind of mood you want, it has a little jazzier sound, that 9 chord. This has more of a folksy sound. Okay? And then the picking technique I'm using down here on the picking hand. I'm only picking once to do that little slide, and I'm actually fretting a half step below on the chord. And then I'm doing what's called a palm mute. So my palm is actually cutting off the sound. If I don't cut that sound off, everything just keeps ringing. Okay? So again, we can throw in that same A blues scale over the D9. It's weird how that works. Some of the notes aren't even in that key. So go ahead and take a look at that fret hand. But the other thing we can do is we can throw in the D mixolydian. So what that is essentially the G major scale. Okay? You can get some funky stuff out of it from playing it in this 5th position. Or you can go into that fusion. I'm going to go ahead and move up the neck here a little bit. There's that D7th chord again. Now I'm going to play the D mixolydian, the same shape we did for the A. I'm going to play up here. Going back to the A. So you can see that blues scale, that's going to give you your bluesy rock sound. And if you want that little bit of pizzazz, as you change chords from the A mixolydian, to the D mixolydian, and then throw that blue note in, get a lot of nice tones out of there. You're almost playing every note on the guitar, so you almost can't go wrong. Of course, it is important what note you land on. You want to make sure you're in the chord tones, excuse me. So any of the chord tones you play, those all work. But if you land on something that's not in the chord, it sounds kind of whack. All right? So that's the A and D so far. We'll come back with the next installment, and we'll go up to the 5 chord, which is going to be the E 7th chord. So we'll see you in a little while.